Senator King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to follow up on Senator Cassidy's comments about natural gas. I've been an advocate of replacing oil and coal with natural gas, but it's important to realize that unless we control the methane that's released in the extraction of natural gas, its carbon benefit virtually disappears. So there's a CRA going to be on the floor in the next week or so on that subject, and I think it's a case where it's low-hanging fruit. It's very cost-effective, and we really the methane problem is one that can be dealt with. But if we don't deal with it, it as I say, it virtually eliminates the environmental benefits of natural gas. Let me go to Mr. Daver. I want to flip the discussion. We've been talking a lot about protecting American innovation and taking advantage of the market opportunities, but many of these challenges that we have, battery storage, the new generation of nuclear electrical generation, CCUS, doing something about plastics in the ocean, those are global problems. How about a global or a more international focused joint ventures, if you will, at least with our allies, so that we're not all chasing the same subject in a less efficient way? For example, I was talking with some legislators in Japan last week, very interested in some joint research projects on energy. Talk to me about the possibility of explicit joint enterprise on some of these global energy problems.
Yes, Senator King. From my personal experience of having to reach out to the Japanese, had Japanese conversations, European, discussions. Apologize, I have to say something nice about America. We actually do a really good job at the national labs compared to, if you look at, is there a NEDL in Europe? No. Is there an NREL in Europe? No. And so it's a bit hard actually to find the exact points overseas it's actually easier in the United States to do that. I am a big supporter of the Japanese, have been trying to have put together a program and trying to identify which technologies to go after. And I personally try to reach out to them and say, let's try to do something together. Let's pick off different items. Same thing with Canada. I would recommend trying to figure out a way actually how to formalize that, how to actually draw in Canada or Japan or the EU and do that.
That's what I'm suggesting, is some formalization of a process just to take advantage of the potential benefit of scale of research. Let me change the subject a little bit. It strikes me that one of the comments that's come through today is we've got great research, but the nexus between research and commercialization in this country is not all that it might be. I think you said, Mr. Dever, you used the phrase, how we transfer is poor. How do we deal with that problem? Because research doesn't help us unless it leads to actual implementation. That's why R&D has the D part.
Well, yes, Senator. I think that it's actually much lower cost in terms of appropriations, but I think it's actually vitally important to invest even further into the commercialization efforts at DOE, but also at the universities and whatever happens with a bigger innovation bill. I think resources to reinforce those particular areas is vitally important because once again, as Ms. Ladislaw said, we got plenty of great ideas. We got plenty of discovery. But I do think setting up even further efforts into that, on top of the good things that have been done for the last 10 years on that, I think is actually a great use of dollars.
And I think we have to realize that there may be misses. Some things aren't going to work. Gretzky's already been quoted once. My favorite Gretzky quote is, "I miss 100% of the shots I don't take." So we have to take some risk on some of these developments. Mr. Point, yeah, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I think that's a really great question. And, again, I think coming from my position, where I was working on private sector R&D and very much working with the Department of Energy, I agree the gap is still really big. And again, I think one of the challenges is that the gap does not look the same for every technology. Even within energy, it looks different among different kinds of energy technologies. The particular barriers to moving things into the private sector are not always the same. And so I think it's really important that the Department of Energy continues to experiment with new kinds of tools in its toolkit to help improve the way that this transfer works. And again, sort of a really deep focus on this and a holistic transfer of the paradigm to thinking about technology impact and not just about thinking about this as a handoff to the private sector is key. I think it's about ongoing partnering. It's about ensuring that the bureaucratic processes match with things that the private sector can actually work with. And it's about really ensuring that we're thinking about holistic business-ready solutions, even at the beginnings of thinking about R&D and deployment and development of new technologies.
Well, I'm out of time, but you have a unique set of experiences in the different places where you've worked, and I'd like to give you some homework. If you would give to the committee some written comments on how to improve that transfer process from your perspective, I think that would be very helpful to us as we look toward future legislation in this area. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Absolutely.